This is Orkney, a land which was once very different to how it looks today. Before the sea levels rose by a staggering 120 meters at the end of the last ice age, this ancient place was once upon a time one large island. Today, you'll find an archipelago of breathtaking landscapes, where transport between them is a normal way of life for the people who live here. The earliest indications of people in Orkney date back to around 11,000 BC. Though not much of their way of life remains, in contrast, we do have archaeological sites in Orkney where traces of all major strands of life have survived from the Neolithic farmers who once sailed to these shores in search of rich and fertile lands. Around 6,000 years ago, the Neolithic farmers who arrived here found a landscape very different to how it is today. The land was covered in trees, but as farming took hold, those trees were removed, creating the open and windswept land we now associate with the Orkney Islands. It is believed that these first people in Orkney were the descendants of the people from Doggerland, who were displaced as the sea levels rose and Doggerland slowly sunk below what is now the North Sea. There are also clear similarities in the stone tools used in Orkney and those used by some of the earliest settlers in Scandinavia. Both groups may have a shared ancestry in Doggerland and the northern European plain. The earliest farmers used timber to erect small permanent dwellings, but as the timber became scarce, they moved to a more sustainable and widely available building material: stone. The local Orkney sandstone fractures naturally into slabs, which is ideal for the construction of walls, floors, and even furniture. Individual villages may have inhabited between 80 and 100 people. These stone houses are strikingly uniform throughout Orkney, and so it seems the Neolithic farmers had a method of constructing houses which was strict and consistent throughout their communities. But it wasn't just houses that these ancient people built. It was megalithic constructions left dotted across the landscape, which have really left archaeologists scratching their heads. Around 4000 BC, a new type of monument began to emerge along the Orkney landscape. Massive stone structures, which are believed to be multifunctional, begin to be constructed, housing both the dead and the living. These Neolithic cairns, as they are now known, consist of a massive stone chamber which can only be reached by a narrow passageway. The passage sits low to ground level and requires a person to crawl in most cases. Rising out of the ground in a mound-type shape, these cairns are covered in clay and turf. They're often constructed with side chambers, and some even have doors which can be locked from the inside. Human as well as animal remains have been discovered, sometimes in large quantities, but the space inside could also accommodate several living people at a time. Analysis suggests that not all people were buried inside a tomb, which begs the question, why were only some people buried in these cairns, and what was the criteria for that selection? When looking at the remains of the people who were buried inside these tombs, the bones revealed something interesting. Many people suffered from a disease called scurvy, which is caused by a lack of vitamin C. This suggests that the transition from a hunter-gatherer lifestyle, which included a diet rich in fruits and vegetables, to farming grains, had severe consequences for the health of people at the time. But these consequences did not stop the Neolithic farmers from building megalithic monuments, with another significant type of structure also appearing around the same time. As the farming communities became established, a new type of site appeared. Circular ditches were dug along the narrow spit of land that stretched between the marshy open waters of an area now known as Brodgar and Ness. These sites are known as henges, and they represent a considerable investment of communal time and effort, including perhaps the coming together of communities across the whole of Orkney. The Ring of Brodgar and the Stones of Stennis feature standing stones on top of these henges that form great circles. The function of these henges and stone circles remain a mystery until this day, but there are several theories that exist. They may have served a ceremonial purpose, with a coming together of people to form a communal space. The fact that these standing stones were quarried from different areas of Orkney may represent the tribes of that time and their importance or political standing on these islands. Another ancient structure, called the Ness of Brodgar, represents a previously unknown type of site. The Orkney Research Centre for Archaeology began unravelling its complexities in 2002, uncovering several mysterious types of buildings. It might be shocking to realise that these sites may only represent a small part of what was originally a much larger complex across this area, and that perhaps we still have many more secrets yet to discover.